All right,
We're live.
welcome, Facebook. This is Jim Blythe with the Veterans Impact Show. Joining me, my co-host, Cedric White, Healing Thy Heart Divine Ministries. Great guy, Navy veteran. Of course, we've got to have more Navy anytime. And Brant Ringler, who is the Executive Director of ESPN Sports Events, who is going to be doing the unbelievable Armed Forces Bowl. Welcome to the Veterans Impact Show, where our motto is Charlie Mike. Continue the mission. I'm your host, Jim Blythe, U.S. Navy Vietnam veteran and certified senior advisor. Join me as we feature veterans who continue the mission of leadership and commitment in our communities after serving our great nation. Why, you never know who you're going to meet or where we're going to go. So welcome aboard. Hey, what a great day. And we're in the holiday season. We're in the bowl season. And this is a great season to join us here on Veterans Impact TV. I got to thank DBTV Network for putting us on Amazon Fire and Roku and all of the wonderful things that they're doing and all the people. Go to DBTV, look us up. We're Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock. And there are a lot of other really great shows that are on DBTV. Also, we want to pay a special thank you to AUN Network out of Northern California. One of the most beautiful places on earth is Northern California, and we thank you for being with us as well. Also, this is brought to you by Fairway Independent Mortgage, my company, the Heritage Group. My MLS number is 311-548. Theirs is 2289, and I'm a specialist. So look me up if you need some help, especially if you're a senior. I want to introduce now a guy that I've had on several times in the past, one of the most interesting guys I've ever met, Brant Ringler, the Executive Director of ESPN Sports Team. Welcome, Brent. What a great deal you're doing to bring the Armed Forces Bowl. Tell us a little bit about it, buddy.
Well, thanks, Jim, and thanks, Cedric, for having me on the show today. Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, it's our 21st anniversary this year. And we have a great matchup. We have the number 4 James Madison University and the Air Force Falcons. And they're 8-4 Air Force, and James Madison is 11-1. On paper, it is a phenomenal matchup because James Madison has one of the top ranked defense in the nation against the run. And as you know, Air Force is run oriented, and it's going to be a tough test for them. But the good thing is Air Force, they entered the game on a 4-game skid. They're 8-0. They were ranked in the top 20 at one point, and then the injury bug hit them. But they're going to have all their players back by bowl time. So we expect that top 20 team to be out there as well. So in essence, you got 2 top 25 teams out there to be playing. So we're excited about the matchup and look forward to everybody coming out for it.
I was asking you, Brant, because I'm sorry, I didn't know anything about James Madison. And you told me this is their second year in this league and how well they're doing. I mean, they are a phenomenal team.
Yeah, not everybody knows the name James Madison because they joined the FBS 2 years ago. They only lost 3 games in their first year, and they only lost 1 game this year so far. So it's a phenomenal record over the 2 years. They were a powerhouse in the FCS league, often going to the NCAA finals in the FCS out of Frisco, Texas. So their fans are actually familiar with the DFW area and are excited to get back down here to be a part of the game.
It's going to be a great game. December 23rd at Amon Carter Stadium over in Fort Worth. That's TCU University. Now, if you want to get tickets, you get 4 free tickets if you're a veteran or you're active duty military. Correct, Brant?
That's correct.
Okay. And to do that, you go to the website. We put it up, a real dogfight, the Armed Forces Bowl. You go on there, you can get tickets there. Now, what if you're out of town? They have a bunch of hotels, the Omni downtown, throughout Fort Worth area. You got
just have them go to our website, armedforcesbowl.com. We have a hotel listing of all our partner hotels that are involved with our game. So we're happy to help people that are from out of town. And if you can't make the game, Our game's on ABC this year. First time ever we've been on ABC. We've done such a great job on ESPN. We got promoted over to ABC this year, and fans can watch us there. Also, if you go online and get your 4 free tickets, there's also a mechanism there to put your military photo up. We have an event called the Wall of Heroes at our game, and we display over 4,000 veteran photos at our game. So send your photo in. We'd love to put you up on our wall.
Hey, I'm going to send in the photograph of myself, my grandfather, who was World War II veteran, my father, and my grandmother, because the 3 of them went through World War II. And this is a great event. This is such a family fun event. Cedric, you haven't gone to this bowl game yet, have you?
I've never attended the bowl game, but the good thing is that I'll be back in the States 2 days before. So as I'm listening, it's like, I think I'll be there. I think, as a matter of fact, my son is a Navy vet. My granddaughter is a Navy vet. So I'm thinking I will take all 3 and maybe take some members of the family and have a big to-do there.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to be there with a press pass, and we're going to be doing interviews, and I want to meet you. If you're coming to Dallas, if you're in Dallas, I would love to meet you. Just look for me. It's the hat. It's the Sea Cadets. I'll be there, and I'll probably be wearing, December 23rd, Brent. I've seen some December 23rd that the weather was incredible. I've seen other that, you better bring your dogs and your sled, because it's going to be rough.
Yeah, I think we're good this year. Our long range forecast has us in our 50s. Not like last year. Last year was one of those 1 in 20 years in which we have something bad, and that weather was so cold. It was 13 degrees at kickoff, 5-degree wind chill. We canceled a lot of our Fan Fest area last year just due to the weather. Something we just definitely don't ever want to do again. We missed the all-time bowl record by 1 degree as coldest game, and you would never think that would happen in Fort Worth, Texas. You think it happened in New York or Boise or somewhere else, but we're second all time in the coldest game ever, and that was last year. But we don't want that again. We want to get back up in those 50s, 60s, good football weather.
Yeah, I know. We were there, and it was pretty bad. And just walking to the stadium was no fun whatsoever. Now, the Armed Forces Bowl goes back 21 years, so you've had several major sponsors. I believe Bell Helicopter was one, but now Lockheed Martin. And a lot of people really don't know the importance of Lockheed Martin to Fort Worth. That's where your F-35 is built.
We have a phenomenal history overall. I mean, let me start from the beginning. We were the Fort Worth Bowl for the first 3 years before we converted to the Armed Forces Bowl. And the third year, we didn't have a title sponsor, and Acme Brick, of all things, was going to be our title sponsor, and we were going to keep it as the Fort Worth Bowl. 2 days before the press conference, of all things, Warren Buffett, who owns Acme Brick, killed our deal. Best at the time, you're like, oh, what's going on? Best thing that ever happened to us, looking back. Because it made us rethink everything. And we said, hey, let's take this to another level. Let's just not have 2 teams playing. Let's honor a whole segment of our society that's important to us. Yeah. And it was the Armed Forces. We had ESPN allowed us to change the name to the Armed Forces Bowl. And within 1 week, Bell Helicopter was on board as our title sponsor. Fantastic partnership for 8 years. And after 8 years, sequestration was going on at that time, so it kind of made them pull back, which is understandable. But Lockheed Martin, the world's largest defense contractor, was sitting right there with their 2 locations here in the Metroplex, the Aeronautics Division in Fort Worth and the Missiles and Fire Division in Grand Prairie, Texas. Both of them stepped forward to say, hey, we want to take over this entitlement. And now we're in our 10th year of a 12-year partnership. Most bowl games, average title partners last 3 years. So we've had an 8-year, and we're on a 10-year right now. So they love what they do for us, and they're a huge part of what we do. They have volunteers that come out of the woodworks to help us and support our military and be a part of the day in honoring our military. So we couldn't thank Lockheed Martin enough for all that they've done in the past and what they're going to be doing going forward.
They do a tremendous amount in Fort Worth and Dallas in this community. And so it's great to have a community partner, but it's also so many of the men and women who work at Lockheed Martin are veterans who actually worked on those aircraft or that equipment before. And it's a great company. I've met some of the senior executives, and I got to tell you, we're very, very, very fortunate to have them. One of the things, too, that I think the Amon Carter Stadium on the TCU campus is a fabulous place to put this on. I mean, that is a great stadium. It's not a domed, covered up. You know, you're going to get the weather. It's old school football, but boy, it is great. I got
It's
to
an
tell
old
you.
school football and basically a brand new stadium. In 2011 and 12, they started a renovation on the old Amon Carter Stadium, and thank goodness, because that old stadium was very tough for us. We had 1 year, and another cold year. My first year in 2003, there was ice on the seats, and the stadium toilets were frozen. I mean, that just doesn't happen these days, right? So it needed a renovation. So over the last 10 years, they've put over $250 million in renovating that stadium. So the luxury for the fans is fantastic. Our players have great locker rooms and facilities to work out in. So it's a win-win across the board for everybody that's involved.
How cool is that? Hey, Joe, thank you for joining us on the program. Diane just showed me. As we're talking about this, one of the most interesting things, Brant, is the trophy. Now, Lockheed Martin has a lot to do with that. Tell us about the trophy. That's a neat story.
Yeah, so about 10 years ago, we decided to upgrade our trophy, and we wanted to have the symbolism of our veterans and our men and women that have served. So our trophy is a nice, sleek black trophy, reminiscent of the Vietnam Wall that's in D.C. In addition, when we first made the trophy, we got decommissioned parts from the battlefield from every branch, and we had it melted down into the trophy. That lasted for several years, and then we actually ran out of materials. It was actually very tough because the alloys of different metals mixing made it very, very hard. So our latest rendition is we actually have pieces from every branch again, but they're pieces of Lockheed Martin products that were made for those specific branches. As you know, Lockheed Martin doesn't just make F-35s. They're involved with the Navy and making littoral ships, and they're up in Space Force. They do missiles for the Army. I mean, they cover every branch in some form or facet. So we wanted to represent that in some unique way. So we actually have those pieces blended into the actual trophy. And it makes it special because there's no other trophy in the world like it. And when those teams take that home, they know they have something special on their mantle, especially the military academies when they win the trophy and take it home.
I remember when it was made out of shrapnel from the battlefield. And so I saw it the first time, and they said, well, pick it up. I started to pick it up. That thing weighed a lot. Now, if it's aircraft parts, maybe it's aluminum and titanium, and it's not so bad. But we're looking at it, we're showing it, and it's really beautiful, Brant. And I think one of the things too, this is such a family fun event. Again, we want to go back to, you can get, if you're a veteran or active duty military, you can get 4 free tickets, but it is a great place to take your kids. You've got the tailgate outpost, which is tremendous, in the Veterans Village. Tell us a little bit about the Veterans Village before we go to this break.
Yeah, so our Veterans Village is outside our stadium on the east side, next to our tailgate outpost, and our tailgate outpost is a fan fest area. The Veterans Village is made up of over 30 to 40 military nonprofits. We give them free space. They're out there to assist our men and women that may have a need. We don't know what's going on in the lives of our military from day to day, and if they need assistance in some way. Our game is supposed to be a safe haven for them to come, enjoy, and be honored appropriately. But if they can also find some assistance in some way through one of these organizations that out there, then we've done our job. And so that's the purpose of the Veterans Village. It's also a great place for veterans camaraderie. They get together, they meet like-minded people, same branches, things along that lines, and just have a really good time.
And Cedric, you and I have talked so much about stopping isolation, because a lot of veterans, especially my era, the Vietnam veterans, tend to want to isolate. Well, when they can come out to an event like this, and then they can see, because we put it up there, the mobile field exchange, the various and sundry, those really help. And don't you agree, Cedric?
Most definitely, Jim. One of the biggest things that we see is families when the vet will isolate himself from his family, isolate himself because he doesn't feel the camaraderie that he had when he was deployed. And Brant, thank you for the resources that you have here, because it's a great place. It lets them see, first of all, people, like-minded people, right? And it's so wonderful when, like, I travel a lot, and when I see another vet, I wear my Navy hat or have on, veteran information. And when vets come in, and, our Air Force will give Navy a hard time, Marines will give Army a hard time, but there's a camaraderie there. And what you have here's an event where the entire family, even the children, will start to see one veteran, one military guy communicate with one another, and they see things that is community, and community is healing. Community is healing.
Brant, do you guys have the the Golden Knights? Are they going to jump into the stadium?
We have a group called the All Veterans Parachute Team, kind of our house parachute team, but they're made up of former Golden Knights and other branch jump teams. Yes, and so we will have them jump into the stadium this year. We have a C-130 jump platform that will be escorting them to the game.
By the way, what a lot of people don't know, you know who makes the C-130? Lockheed Martin.
That's right.
And let me tell you, I'm a pilot. That's one plane I've always wanted to fly and never have, or even been in it, other than at a display. But that is probably the stoutest, strongest, longest flying military airplane in the world. That plane has been around since what, Brant? The 1950s?
Yes, sir.
And so it was very heavily used in Vietnam, and I think in every other war, and it's still coming off the line. And our Joint Reserve Base here in Dallas, BR-59 has them. There's several C-130s out there. So in Fort Worth, we've got the Joint Reserve Base. A lot of people don't realize how big Fort Worth is in the military community with the Joint Reserve Base. So this is going to be a tremendous event. We want to keep talking about this with Brant Ringler. This is also something you want to talk to your friends about. So share this, right, Cedric?
That's
Get
right.
it out there. Get it out there. And you're going to meet Cedric, and you're going to meet me at the event, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun.
That's
So
right.
we're going to be right back after these words from all of our partners. And we're so blessed to have you, and we're blessed to be with DBTV and AUN and on Amazon Fire and Roku. And I think we're going to see some fabulous things in next year that we're going to be able to help more veterans to be able to be a part of the veteran community. And the first thing coming in December 23rd, you want to be a part of the veteran community? Join us at the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth. We'll be right back after these words. This is Veterans Impact Show. Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show. And thanks to our sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage and Lone Star Wealth Strategies. Now, let's continue this great conversation.
Well, hello and welcome back. I am Cedric White. I'm the co-host of the Veterans Impact Show, here with host Jim Blythe and our guest, Brant Ringler, who is the executive director of ESPN Sports. Brant, thank you for joining us here today. We're talking about the Armed Forces Bowl. We're talking about ways that families can be involved and engaged. And it's so interesting, the things that our sponsor, Lockheed Martin, is doing to ensure that the military, that vets have what they need, can come together as a family. So thank you for joining us today. Now back to the show.
Hey, with this tailgate outpost in Veterans Village, one year I was there and we actually broadcast from the Veterans Village. Now we were there at like 9:30 in the morning. And let me tell you something, Brant, that year it was cold. It was one of those cold years. And if you've ever tried to broadcast and you're like, but it's a great event. And those VSOs, as well as I met one of my now really closest friends, Admiral Woody Beale, when he was head of the vice commander of recruiting for the Navy. And I got to tell you, there's going to be the recruiters from the Navy. I'm sure the Air Force will be there. And if young men and women want to find out more about career opportunities to be a part of something far greater, but also the military is a great place to get started in life. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. How about you, Cedric?
Exactly. I don't know where I'd be today were it not for the military. I didn't know what I was doing, didn't have a clue, but I knew I needed to do something. And I love to brag about the fact that it was in the military that I learned about patriotism for my country and love for my country. So I'm so glad, and so many young people today could use some time in the military.
And I got to tell you, this is a fun event. This is a huge event. I mean, you're going to have what, 60, 70, 80,000 people in that bowl?
I wish we could, but the stadium doesn't hold that many people. So the stadium holds about 45,000.
Oh, was it 45? Okay.
That's with the suites and everything. We average 40,000 over our 20 years. So, it's a great turnout of fans. And I got to say, normally 25,000 of those are military members and their immediate families. Mm-hmm. That's through our corporate partner program that underwrites tickets for them to enjoy the game and be honored and appreciated like they're supposed to be. And sometimes it might be a little cold, Jim. Don't worry about that. Every time I get a little cold, or there's been days I've been a little hot, honestly, I actually think about the military. I'm like, what are these guys going over in a foxhole, or in the desert, or up in Alaska, or these guys are roughing it and dealing with the elements on a day in and day out basis. And can I deal with it for a couple of minutes or a couple of hours? Yes, I can fight my way through, because these guys do it day in and day out. So that's what I put in my brain.
Yeah, not only that, but you get to enjoy a great football game.
That's right.
And I started looking when you told me who was going to play James Madison University. And then I started looking at their 11-1, as well as Air Force, and now they've got all their players coming back. This is going to be, and you're billing it as a real dogfight. This really is. This is going to be an incredible game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we do a play on words there. James Madison, their mascot, is a bulldog. And then obviously Air Force, actually has dogfights. So it's just definitely a play on word and a little bit of fun. So people are going to have a great time at our event. It starts all outside at the Fan Fest. Inside that Fan Fest, we'll have military hardware on display from the various branches, interactive displays. Like I know Navy's bringing out a huge display in which they do interactive material. I think the Marines actually have like a shooting range, laser type stuff. There's 18-wheelers that fold out for fans to get and be a part of. Lockheed Martin's bringing a HIMARS, an actual HIMARS for fans, for people to see that. That's the stuff being used today in today's world. And then we have a concert as well. Our concert is the War Hippies this year. The War Hippies are made up of two gentlemen, both combat veterans. One's an Army combat veteran, another is a Marine. The Army combat veteran actually plays a violin, of all things, and he's world renowned. He actually replaced Charlie Daniels after he passed away.
Oh,
he's that
really?
Good. Oh. And he's so good. We're actually having him do our national anthem this year as well. It's something special that you normally don't get to see a violinist play the national anthem. So I think people are really going to enjoy that.
Brant, that's not a violin, that's a fiddle.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I got to tell you, it's tremendous. I believe you have the VA healthcare system always has a big bus out there as well. The veterans can find out more about the PACT Act, which is the biggest change. And one of the things we have been really supportive of the VA healthcare system because of the changes they've made. And the PACT Act really is aimed at those toxic substances that many of us were exposed to. And I think it's really great. I'm going through all of that program right now because of my involvement in Vietnam. So we want to encourage veterans to come out early, be a part of the tailgate outpost, be a part of the Veterans Village. You got great food trucks. You got great opportunity to have fun. I mean, what else can you ask for?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a pep rally to add to that. The 1st Cavalry Band will be out there roaming around with their own jazz ensemble. They'll be walking the facility. And that's everything outside the stadium. We haven't even touched on what's going on inside the stadium as well. Once you get inside the stadium, we have even more displays. I mentioned earlier our Wall of Heroes has a display of over 4,000 photos of our military that have served. But this year we're bringing in a special display. It's a giant American flag made out of dog tags. And every one of those dog tags represents someone that has passed since 9/11.
Oh, wow.
So very, very, very important for people to come out and see this and be a part of it. But we are excited to bring that in, and we'll also have a lot of stuff going on throughout the game, which I'll get to here in the near future.
We're going to be talking more with Brant Ringler about the Armed Forces Bowl when we come back after these messages from all of our partners. Guys, this is a great family event. This is a great time to get out, be around other veterans, be around people in our community who love veterans. Let me tell you, Fort Worth loves veterans. Fort Worth is a military town. So we want to say thank you to Brant Ringler, and we're going to continue this conversation with him in just a minute. Thank you. Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show, and thanks to our sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage and Lone Star Wealth Strategies. Now, let's continue this great conversation. Well, I want to go back and say again, a thank you to DBTV for all they're doing for us and all they're getting ready to do for us. But they put us on Amazon Fire and Roku, and then the AUN network out in Northern California. I can't believe it. I had a good friend on, and he called me up and he said, my sister watched me in Sacramento on AUN. So we're going to be out there more to help across the nation and around the world in helping veterans connect, helping veterans not isolate, helping veterans with faith, with family, with friends, whatever we can do to have better health for all of our veterans. And one of the big things that we have always supported since we started this is the Armed Forces Bowl. And Lockheed Martin has been so supportive of us in being able to do this. So again, we're talking with Brant Ringler. We've got the website up, A Real Dogfight. James Madison University. Those guys on the East Coast, they know how to play football. 11-1, right? And then we got Air Force. Now, I've always, because I'm Navy, I got to put in a dig, because every time I meet an Air Force pilot, I'd say, well, what did you fly? And blah, 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 blah. I said, really? When you learn to land on an aircraft carrier at night in a rainstorm, you tell me how good you are. And every one of them just kind of looks away and walks away. And so, you guys are nuts in the Navy. And let me tell you something. I have met some of the greatest men and women at the Armed Forces Bowl. I mentioned earlier Doug Beal, Admiral Doug Beal. He's now retired. He works for American Airlines. He was vice commander of recruiting. They had a huge van that inside, you mentioned this, Brent, an interactive deal that can talk, like riverboats or aircraft and all that's in it. Man, the kids line up to go in that thing. It is a real experience to be able to do it. Diane, my wife, she's sitting here, she's smiling. She did it last year, I think. And it was a great thing. So you want to bring your kids out. You want them to experience all of this fun, plus the bands, plus the football. Oh, by the way, there is a football game that's part of it.
Jim, it makes a memorable event for the entire family. This is one of those things that sticks in the kids' minds when they grow up and makes them even think, wow, I'd like to be a part of that as I move forward. So it's definitely an event that you want to bring the family out to.
Absolutely.
The kids will have a great time, and the families, are going to be honored. And, one of the most special things for me at the game is, we honor every branch every quarter. We honor the Coast Guard at halftime. They added Space Force, so we kind of have to put that with the Air Force because we run out of quarters and I can't guarantee overtime. But one of the things I really enjoy is when mom or dad stands to be recognized, and you got little Junior standing there looking up at mom and dad, proud.
Yes.
Those are special moments. That's stuff that kids are going to remember, and they're going to remember everything from the Fan Fest area to inside the stadium that we have. Pregame, we mentioned the jump team. Well, we also have a flyover. If you have Lockheed Martin, you have to have a flyover.
Yeah.
And we've got 4 F-35s planned for this year, coming down from Hill Air Force Base in Utah to provide our flyover. So we're looking forward to having them. And then throughout the game, there's not a down second that we don't honor someone. So when it goes to a timeout or goes to commercial break, we've got something going on. And I just tell you a little bit of what we're doing. We have, the family reunion. We always have someone from overseas brought home, reunited with their family. We have this year a gentleman that has PTSD after serving 20 years in the Army. He's going to receive a canine, a companion. We have a Lockheed Martin veteran that is going to receive a solo cart. And a solo cart is kind of like a golf cart, but it's for people that are disabled. This gentleman lost both his legs, but he loves to play golf. This golf cart allows him to play golf on a frequent basis. Those are the things that change lives. And we're a platform for these organizations to highlight what they're doing in the veteran community and, give back. So we're glad to be a part of that. At halftime, we do our Great American Patriot Award. This year is Medal of Honor recipient Florent Groberg, a retired Army captain. Phenomenal story. If you look it up, he actually was in Afghanistan serving, and there was a suicide bomber nearby coming towards his unit. He tackled the suicide bomber, and it went off. And he was injured. Spent over 2 years at Walter Reed, back to health now, and he's going to receive our Great American Patriot Award at halftime. Following that, we induct over 125 recruits into the military. We have members from every branch. Those same recruits, by the way, and we don't say this publicly, but those recruits carry out the American flag prior to the game. That's that flag that they're joining the service to protect. It's just a small form of symbolism that hopefully they all catch on to when they carry that flag out prior to the game and unfurl it. Following that, we have over 100 Purple Hearts that we recognize as well on the field. One of them is going to win a brand new truck.
Oh, wow.
So on and on and on, we've got stuff going on throughout the game that is a tribute. And then we also put on the football game, like you said.
Without a doubt. By the way, now, if you're here in Fort Worth, Dallas, or you're here early, there's a Lockheed Martin Armed Forces kickoff luncheon, and it's presented by American Airlines and Omni Hotels, and I've got the information. It's also on the website, and that's on December 22nd. That's going to be really great. The Omni Hotel Fort Worth on Houston Street, and that's from 11:30 to 1. I believe, are you going to honor this Medal of Honor?
So he's actually going to be our keynote speaker.
Okay, great.
He has a football background of all things. He actually worked for the New York Jets and Miami Dolphins. And, he'll be able to, the luncheon is a showcase of our military, but it's also, we want our keynote speaker to talk to the teams. And he has obviously a great story to tell about team. Being in the military is a team, right?
Right.
So the concepts that come around that, he'll be able to speak openly to them about. And we have over 800 people that normally come to this luncheon. We work with Roll Call, and Roll Call actually brings in people from Vietnam. We've had Korean War vets. We've had World War II war vets out there as well. We'll pay tribute to them. Fans are welcome to be a part of this day. Also, our corporate partners are out there. As you can kind of see here on the website, we have a giant American flag behind the head table. At the head table, we have an 06 from every branch to represent all the military for those branches. Our mayor's up there as well. And then the head coaches and athletic directors are there, and the head coaches get up and speak for a few minutes as well. So it's a great event overall. We always encourage people to come out and be a part of the day.
It is tremendous. And I got to tell you, I have enjoyed it so much. Starting, in 2015, when I started going to the bowl, it's always been one of the most fun games, best games. I remember one year, Army, I don't think Army knew how to throw a football, but my golly, Moses, it was like watching a tank go through. And I got to tell you, with this Medal of Honor recipient, he ought to be the defensive back coach, because if he tackled a bomber, a suicide bomber in Afghanistan, he could tackle anybody. I mean, he could teach.
We've had some great games. I mean, and the military academies play 60 minutes. There's not a down. They don't take a play off. And that's what everybody loves about them. They're always the underdog. The last, we try to have a military academy, but it's never a guarantee. This is the 13th year out of 17, though, that we've made it work. We've had Army 4 times. They've won all 4 times. We've had Navy twice, and Air Force, this is their 7th time out of 21 years. So they've done quite well to be here. Last year they're our defending champs as well. They beat Baylor last year. The year before, Army beat Missouri on a last-second field goal. Every time the military academies play, they're fantastic games. They give it their all, and I think that's what the fans really enjoy, getting behind them and supporting them.
One of the other things too, those kids with James Madison or Baylor or these other colleges, many of them are gonna go on to professions. Many of them are going to go on to the pro sports. Mm-hmm. All of the men that play football are going into the military. They have all signed up. They have all a part of it. And one of the things is they have literally gotten a scholarship to go to a great university and study for free. And they're given 6 years of their life on top of that to be able to give back for what they've received. And every Academy of Graduate I've ever met, whether it's the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, even the Merchant Marine, they're all exceptional men and women, and they do an exceptional job. And a lot of people go, well, why would I want my son and daughter to go in the military? Well, let me tell you, it's not only a head start in life, it's a chance to really grow up, but they develop relationships and they develop abilities and skills they would not get anywhere else. And you're going to meet a lot of these people. And this is probably the biggest military event in the United States, Brent, isn't it? Because you got
there's one other one it's today, Army-Navy game.
Oh, well, yeah.
Let's not forget about that one. That's a great one to have. But we're right up there with them.
I'm going to be getting with some of my Navy buddies to watch that, and we have our fingers crossed. Go Navy!
That's right.
Yeah, stay alive.
It's going to be a great game today. These two teams are well matched. I expect a really, really good game today, and they're always good. But I think this one's going to be a really defensive game. We'll see what happens.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it'd be fantastic, which probably will never happen if you could ever match them up for the Armed Forces Bowl.
We've actually tried, but the winning team never wants to replay. There's no upside to that, right? But yeah, it just never will happen. But we try to have at least one of the academy teams, and that's good enough for us.
Well, that is a great deal, without a doubt. And again, this is a total event. This is a total experience. And it starts before you even go into the stadium with the tailgate outpost, all kinds of food trucks, all kinds of fun, camaraderie. Then you've got the Veterans Village. I think every major veteran service organization, recruiting, the virtual recruiting equipment that they bring to show kids. I'm telling you, it's so much fun. It really is. I mean, it's worth getting there real early to be a part of that. Fortunately, I'm working that morning, so we'll be there. But I got to tell you, early morning. I've been out there, and it's a blast when all of these things start getting set up. And I think Bell Helicopter usually brings a Huey out there on a flatbread. You got a bunch of other tremendous
Yeah,
equipment.
that's actually the Fort Worth Museum.
Oh, is that who does that?
They bring out a helicopter from Vietnam, have it on display out there for fans. You know, we've had everything, man. We've had tanks, we've had F-16 models, F-35 model. I think we had a Thunderbird one year as well on display. You know, just stuff that kids can't see and touch every day. And we want them to be out there to see this stuff and see what our men and women are actually using out in service to be a part. And then of course, all our veterans, they relate to a lot of this stuff. They're like, that's a story in itself. They see something, they turn to their kids, say, hey, daddy was doing this, or mommy was doing this, you know, with that. And you know, just continues to perpetuate the relationship with the military and their families.
And it also perpetuates the relationship within the family.
Yes.
Correct.
You can tell your story. And I think it's so important because a lot of us from Vietnam, when we came home, wasn't real nice.
Right.
We weren't treated real nicely. And yet now there's so many people, every time they see me, they go, well, thank you for your service. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, would do it any day all over again. It was my honor to serve. And I think this is the kind of men and women you're going to meet. You're going to meet men and women who were pilots. You're going to meet men and women who kept those equipment in the air or kept it going. You're going to meet tank drivers. Every aspect of the military is out there, except maybe the Merchant Marine. I don't know. We don't have many of them in the Dallas area, but I got to tell you, it's really unbelievable. And I joke about Merchant Marine. Guys, do you realize the Merchant Marine is literally a 3-year university? And if you go through the Merchant Marine, which is, I believe, is in Indianapolis, Maryland, you can go into any of the militaries as a commissioned officer. And it's a 3-year program. And you can learn logistics, you can learn navigation, you can learn engineering. It's all there. There's so much that people don't know. And here's a place to go that's a lot of fun to find out. Correct?
Jim, I was going to say, this is I'm a big proponent of getting the kids away from the video games and getting them outside. This is an opportunity for the children to be able to relate to what mom or dad is talking about when they talk about the military. And then they can see it even from other perspectives. They can see it from other armed services, other divisions of the military, and they can start to put some of the pieces of the puzzle together. Get outside, get some sunshine, get some communion with others in the military community. It's just a great event to attend.
Well, not only that, but you want to really get those kids, tell them, hey, there's going to be interactive games that the Navy puts on that you're going to get a chance to see. That's going to get them. And Brant, thanks for getting those things coming. That's great.
No problem. We love to have those things out there. It always makes it a better event. And, you know, another small thing that small is the wrong word. We honor our military spouses as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is a huge portion of the military family. It's the person at home keeping the family together while their loved ones supporting and fighting for our country. So every branch, Armed Forces Insurance has a program called Military Spouse of the Year. So we will have a branch winner for each spouse out on the field to be recognized.
All right. Well, let's finish up when we come back talking about Armed Forces Bowl. Thank you, Brant Ringler, for being part of this. Thank you for bringing so much. Most of all, thank you for bringing the Armed Forces Bowl to us here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's a really great event. We're going to be right back after these words from all of our partners to wrap up and bring this program into the dock. This is the Veterans Impact Show. I'm Jim Blythe with Cedric White, and we're presenting Brant Ringler and the Armed Forces Bowl for you. Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show, and thanks to our sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage and Lone Star Wealth Strategies. Now, let's continue this great conversation. Well, Brent, this is always fabulous to talk about and more fun to go to the game. But you also mentioned that the game is not only is going to be on ESPN Sports, but it's on ABC television as well.
Yeah, so this year we're on ABC. We've been on ESPN for the first 20 years. They've, I call it a little bit of an upgrade just because of the households. There's more of them on ABC. But ESPN helps produce the game. It'll also be on ESPN Plus, so you can stream it as well to watch. And then there's always a rebroadcast if you're not able to watch the game on game day.
But it's more fun if you come to the game.
That's right.
And if you live in Oklahoma or you live in Louisiana or you live in Arkansas, get down here. Get here. We're going to have fun. And Dallas has got some incredible restaurants. Fort Worth is, I mean, to tell you, you can't ask for any better. And if you want to have some really great barbecue, you want to go to the Railhead over in Fort Worth, or you want to go to some of the others, right, Brent? You got the favorite place in Fort Worth you like to go?
There's a lot of great barbecue, and to claim one, you probably get in trouble by the others. So, they're all really good. And our game's at 2:30 kickoff. So if you're in the 3 to 4 hour radius, there's no excuse that you can't get here and go home the same day. So make it part of your schedule. It's a Saturday too. So it's an afternoon. It's going to be nice and sunny. That's my prediction. So come out and have a good time.
Brant, also, don't you guys bus in some of the troops from Fort Cavazos and from Shepherd Air Force Base and some of these other bases that are within proximity in Texas, and they give a chance for active duty military to come and join us? I know they're coming on board.
We've done that for several years. Actually, Lockheed Martin has brought in buses from various bases within, like I said, a 3 or 4 hour radius, so they can enjoy the day. A lot of times the people that stay back on the base during the holidays, well, they're on the base, right? They don't get to go home for the holidays. So this is kind of a way to get away and break up the monotony of having to stay back. We this year we're actually busing in homeless veterans. We're working with the Dallas and Fort Worth United Way and Salvation Army to bring these men and women in and just give them a nice barbecue meal. First of all, we have a sponsor that's cooking up out in the Fan Fest, going to be cooking up barbecue for them. Let them have a good time. Let them feel appreciated and know that they're loved. And help. This is maybe one small step to get that one thing going for them that makes that next step easier. And next step, to get back and be a part of everyday life like they should be.
Brent, I had Dr. Stephen Holt, who's medical director of Vision 17, which is the state of Texas, and he and I talked about that homeless issue. And last year, 750 homeless vets were given homes, gotten into either an apartment through the VA VASH voucher HUD system, whatever. They did a lot. 750, that's a lot of homeless veterans that they helped out. And I think they're going to be out there as well talking to veterans about veterans benefits. A lot of people don't know all of the benefits that veterans now have.
Right.
I just did a major webinar for the Society of Certified Senior Advisors, and I got to tell you, people were amazed when we started talking about it. And Cedric, you and I have talked about this so much. You're doing a lot in terms of marriage counseling and helping veterans. That's one of your specialty areas, right?
Right. That's exactly what we do. We work with veterans. We do veteran retreats. We facilitate trainings for families and for couples who are maybe just want to learn more. Some are in trouble. Some need help. We do premarital training, the full gambit, because the vet needs the family, and the family needs the vet, needs the military person. And the healthier they can be spiritually, emotionally, physically, the better off everybody in that unit tends to be.
Absolutely. And again, that's one of the reasons why we support Lockheed Martin's Armed Forces Bowl. Yes. And this is the real dogfight. It's going to be there on the 23rd at 2:30 in the afternoon. Get tickets for free if you're a veteran or active duty military. We want to meet you. We want to have you get to know Cedric and get to know me, because some of the best friends I've met are from the Lockheed Armed Forces Bowl. And Woody, thanks for hanging right across from Ashley and I. He was the admiral that I met at the Armed Forces Bowl. And let me tell you something, you don't get much better than some of these crazy pilots. Trust me. Guys, this has just been really tremendous. Again, please go to Lockheed Martin's Armed Forces Bowl. If you just go Armed Forces Bowl, it's going to have a big banner that says a real dogfight. You can go to get free tickets. If you need some help, just call me, 214-502-4600, or email me. I'm Jim Blythe with Fairway, and I got to tell you, we're here for you, and we're here to help you. And this is what it's all about, bringing family, bringing veterans, bringing military, being honored. I got to tell you, it's a really wonderful thing when people look at you and go, wow, you served. Yes, we did. We all did. And I got to tell you, that lifts veterans up something fierce. So I'm praying for everybody. I'm just saying, hey, this is great. So I tell you what, we always close with a prayer. I'd like to say a prayer for the Armed Forces Bowl. So Lord God of the universe, we are so thankful to be on board with you and to be so in touch with you. And thank you for your hedge of protection around our active duty military, our first responders, and our veterans. And God, we ask you to really bless the Armed Forces Bowl with great weather and a great game and great camaraderie for all of my brothers and sisters. Lord God, it doesn't get much better than this. And thank you for men like Brant Ringler, who pull it all together and have it happen for us right here in our community. Dear God, we thank you for all of this. We thank you for this wonderful holiday season. And we thank you, Lord God, to helping us to bring this nation back together. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. In the Lord's name, we say amen. Guys, we'll be back next week. We've got a great program for you. Brent, thank you. We'll see you at the Armed Forces Bowl.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Cedric.
Cedric, have a safe trip home. All right, guys.